Hello and welcome to So Farscape.
A fun-filled Farscape fan cast by a fervent fan.
And a fresh-faced first-timer.
I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay, and this is
the Story So
Farscape.
Yeah, sort of nailing the whole thing. The Story So Farscape, on this fantastic television show from 1999, an American astronaut on a solo mission to prove a theory gets zapped through a wormhole.
To record previously unrecorded speeds.
Yes, it's all about the unrecorded speeds, as was the title of our pilot episode.
Ah, yes.
And he arrives on a ship.
A living ship.
Yeah, very good. Full of strange
aliens, yes. Chased by an insane commander.
Very good, very good. See,
I'm getting there. I'm remembering it now, yes.
Yes, and now, do you remember how the theme tune goes?
Oh, yes, but I'm like terrible without a second voice.
You're in luck, because here no, that's not the one, that's Doctor Who.
Oh, right, sorry. I mean, it kind of has the same time tunnel effect, so...
Oh, you're right. Actually, we got to see the time tunnel a bit better in this episode at one point.
Yes, I suppose that was a bit of a flashback moment that we were having.
So he's met some colourful alien creatures such as Aaron, who looks just like him.
Yes, a symbiote. No, a sebaceous fluid. No, a cetacean.
Cetacean. No, where do you want to go?
Yes,
yes. She's a citation.
Dargo, or also known as Tentacles, the Luxon warrior.
Yep. Who has some smashing pajamas.
He does. And Mr. Earbrows, the Rigel, the Domina Rigel the 16th.
Yeah. Okay. So last week we had Till the Blood Runs Clear, where there was a wanted beacon, and Crace identified these three criminals that had escaped: Dargo, Rigel, and Zhaan. But he called Rigel. He styles himself Dominar Rigel the 16th.
Right. Yes.
The Hynerian who styles himself as Rigel the 16th.
Which initially, when I heard that, I thought, oh, maybe he's faking it. Right? Like maybe he's just pretending. Maybe that's what...
Or maybe they're just downplaying the fact that he is actually someone.
Turns out styling yourself, that is like what you... That sort of defines what the correct terminology for your rank is.
Oh,
because
okay.
Yeah.
So it's not being pretentious?
No, well, you're still being pretentious, but okay. It's sort of etiquette. Like within the etiquette of my culture, what is my rank called? And how is it addressed?
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's actually quite cool to know how to address someone. Like I learned how you're supposed to address the Queen, the English Queen.
Yes.
Which is...
First time it's Your Majesty, and after that it's Ma'am.
Ma'am.
Ma'am. All right.
Yeah, ma'am as in ham, not ma'am as in palm.
Okay, right, yes.
Yeah. Well, very good. So you watched the King's Speech as well, which is where I learned that.
No, I did not. I somehow picked it up on through something else. I don't know quite where or how.
Through knowledge osmosis.
Yes, I think it might have been from the opening scene of the... London Olympics, where James Bond wanders into the...
Yes, he'd know the manners.
Which I thought was amazing, because basically she ad-libbed the part where she kind of ignores him for a little bit before addressing
wow.
her. Yes. She just like finishes writing her letter, and then she goes like, Bond.
That's a power move.
Yes. I mean, she's like, if anybody can make a power move, it's her.
Was it the actual Queen?
As far as I know, yes, it was.
Huh.
I mean, not the one jumping out of the helicopter, but it's like as far as I'm aware, that was the actual Queen. That they actually filmed that with the Queen.
Oh wow, that's kind of cool. I mean, the 2012 Olympics, like the opening section was fantastic, directed by Danny Boyle.
Yes,
a beloved film director of some masterpieces.
But we're dealing with 1999, not with 2012 here.
Yes, that's right. And did we have? Hey, if we climb into your far back machine, do you have any other masterpieces to enjoy around that time?
Well, one that I particularly enjoyed was Dogma by Kevin Smith.
Oh wow,
which was also a 1999 movie.
Also, I think filmed in Australia.
Was it?
I don't know, but it's sort of tweaking my little trivia hindbrain.
I don't know. Kevin Smith, did he ever do any Australian film? He was like all about American and...
Yeah, it might have just been cheap. Oh, I don't know. I'm sure that there are some listeners who...
For those people who haven't seen the movie,
yes.
It's about two angels trying to get back into heaven and God lost somewhere on Earth.
Yes, and Bartleby and Loki, I think their names are.
The one.
And they're played by...
What's facing the other guy?
Okay. I can assist you, but this is actually kind of a fun game.
Matt Damon I just can't really... You know how I'm with names. I know I can picture their face and his other...
will admit something to you right now. I can't really come up with his name. I think it's a Ben.
Ben Affleck, yes it is.
Affleck,
yes,
that's right. I was stuck with Ben Browder.
They're like, they're hetero life mates. Oh no, wait, that's Jake and Silent Bob again.
Yes, no, they're very much like Chewbacca and Han. I guess no, that's Jay and Silent Bob again.
Yes, it is. Apparently, there's this one lovely scene in the movie where they do the fourth wall breaking, where staring into the camera. And it's like when you're only doing a movie because you owe your friend a favor, and they basically knowingly look into the camera. But yes, with Alanis Morissette as God. Who doesn't speak. Because her voice would crush mere mortals. Oh, yes, and it took them about 4 Adams before they figured that one out.
That was a brilliant line by Alan Rickman.
Yes, who is brilliant in that movie.
Oh, whom we featured on the Far Back Machine before. He was also in Galaxy Quest.
He was, yes.
Where he played Dr. Lazarus, and this time he was the Metatron.
Yes,
the voice of God, also an angel. Oh, so much of this movie is coming back. Like he teleports your woman. What was her name?
Oh, I can't remember her name.
Teleports her away to like a restaurant where Chinese food is being served.
No, Mexican.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Are we in Mexico? Well, no, we're just down the street. But the principle is the same. Like.
Yes. So yeah, that's that debuted around the same time as. Farscape did.
What a summer that was!
Yeah, it was like
holy crap.
There's a few more coming in the Far Back Machine.
Oh, I'm really excited.
Yes, it was a good year for movies and for television, as we can see.
I think it's a really fun thing to do because seeing this show is a Far Back Machine for me.
Yes,
like. I was 18 years old when it was airing. I think I was like just in that liminal period where I was either just living at home or I was living on my own as a student. Oh, and exciting
all that
years.
Freedom.
Yeah.
So this week's episode is 112, Rhapsody in Blue, where Zhaan is asked to help an outpost of fellow Delvians attempting to avoid the madness that threatens them.
Ooh.
Prepare for starburst!
So it opens up with a lovely scene of Crichton getting it on with his girlfriend, I suppose. Did we see his girlfriend before?
No,
I don't
think it's even mentioned. Like this is Alexandra, as we find out, and we find out that she's also a scientist
who is getting a full scholarship at Stanford or something, a full grant or whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever that's. She's clearly like a researcher.
Yeah. So it's probably some sort of researching position, probably a postgrad type thing, considering their age and everything.
Yeah, like they're both mature scientists, and
my first thought is like, oh, is this a dream? No, it's a flashback. And then, no, it turns out to be a dream anyway later on. But yeah,
which is also a flashback. Yeah,
it is. But yeah.
Now I'm curious what the situation is here, because we start with some red roses. Oh, it's so romantic, and they're on a bed with white sheets and red covers,
and making out, and
oh, it's so gorgeous.
And then they go into the post-coital discussion about their future and how she's gotten the Stanford thing, and he's decided to stay in Florida with IASA.
He's got a chance at the space program.
Yes.
But they're in a room with like red roses, red blankets. Okay, so far so good. There's a pyramid of what looks like red Christmas ornaments on the table. For some reason, they've got stale champagne by the side of the bed. So they clearly just had is this their bedroom? In which case, it's really a lovely pad with French doors, or is this just some a Frel pad that they write?
I have no idea. I mean, it could be either. It's not. Yeah, it's not really important either to this story, because it's basically it ends with them with Crichton deciding not to propose to her.
Yeah,
because they decide that and she's still, oh, I love you, and they even talk about spending some time apart. So it's all a little bit weird. But,
yeah, I'm inclined to think that this is actually a flashback to a moment that. He really enjoyed and then really rather regrets, because she chose her career over their relationship. I mean, so did he, frankly.
I mean, it's just that she had to move away. And I mean, he could have made the same choice and go with her, but clearly their paths were being pulled apart. I think it is not really a flashback as in the movie sense of being a flashback.
Right.
I mean, it is a flashback, but it is actually a dream, I think, because after the opening credits, we see Crichton stumbling through the corridors, and this is actually the first time I expected a Woody in the episode after having a dream like that,
because he tumbles out of bed when the ship is shaken, and he's got his white boxers,
some tight clines, as we later learn.
He does look good stumbling around.
Yeah, he gets basically shaken out of bed because it seems that Moya has initiated Starburst.
Yes, and we get to see what it looks like from the inside. You actually get a view outside of the port.
Oh yes,
and it's this fantastic sort of aqua blue screensaver. That I'm really not sure how to interpret, but like I, being a nerd, looked up what Starburst is, and I think I shared it with you, where it's a conversion of a 3-dimensional object into 1-dimensional space. So it can travel essentially frictionlessly with the inertia that it already had. And apparently this is what it looks like from the inside. It's gorgeous.
It is. And actually I noticed one other thing, that Rigel seems to be a little bit more green than purple here. I don't know if they have a new puppet or if they just like touched up his makeup or something like that. But he seems a little bit more green than the purplish grey that he seemed to have been so far.
Well, I've noticed that the lighting on Moya varies from episode to episode,
that makes sense.
Including color temperature, which can affect how things appear.
Very much so.
You notice that Zhaan has gotten more blue compared to, like, in earlier episodes, she'd sometimes have a bit of a purple sheen or sometimes grayish, depending on what kind of light she was under.
That makes sense. I mean, I'm sure that they're still using the same kind of makeup at least, or at least trying to make it as consistent as possible.
Right. I mean, I'm seeing even in this shot where we see Rigel and behind them out of focus is Dargo and Crichton standing over the Ouija board. They look like way too pink. Way pinker than they normally
so it
look.
might
just
be
a white balance issue.
Yeah.
So, but it's also not unusual for like Rigel was constantly being updated. Like he was a $200 million puppet.
Oh wow!
Well, I don't know if it's actually $200 million, but it might as well be. Certainly, like Anthony Simcoe liked to joke that he was definitely more expensive than all of our lives put together. And so, like the insurance would always prioritize.
Right.
You know, if there was an explosion, then ask, is Rigel okay?
Yeah. They made more. They spent more money on the puppet than they did on the voice actor, I suppose.
Yeah.
Which is always like, I can imagine that's a little bit galling as a voice actor. Yeah. You go like, the puppet gets more money than I do. But
I guess that's kind of true for
probably most
CGI
voice actors.
or anime.
Generally speaking,
saying it out loud.
So yes, everybody seems to have been having horny dreams. Except for Erin, who just like flat out denies that she ever does that sort of thing.
I slept soundly. Well, no, hold on. She says I slept soundly, and Zhaan is the one who's kind of snippy.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. But I like how everyone's on the bridge in their underwear now.
Right. And also Erin challenging the ownership of Crichton's underwear, because
white boxers as well.
And she's like, "Hey, you're wearing my underwear?"
That's my underwear.
What does it say?
Calvin.
Then they're not yours.
Because you're not Calvin.
It's not yours then. But what a weird leap of logic. Like, she clearly stole his underpants.
Of course.
She's got to know.
She's just blatantly denying it, yes.
He's wearing the exact same ones. Then again, how many pairs of underwear would you bring on a space mission? I mean, definitely 3, right?
Well, this brings us back to the discussion we had at the first episode, whether or not, like, how he ended up in that shuttle thing.
Yeah.
And depending on how long he was going to spend up there, and if he was actually going to transition into the proper shuttle and not just his little Starfinder thing.
His module.
Module, that's the one.
Yeah.
And I believe that I read about this sometime. I think that the the quota for fresh underwear and clothes is like fresh underwear every other day or every few days, and fresh shorts and shirts once a week, I believe, for a space station crew.
Yeah, that makes sense for like a temperature-controlled environment where nobody's going to sweat.
Well, I mean, they're doing the exercise on the exercise machines, but I assume they have like exercise.
Yeah, you got your jimmies for that.
Yeah, exactly. You use the old underwear for that. It's like
yeah, and then you give yourself a wee wipe because they don't. They
shower.
Still don't have showers.
No, they had showers on the on Skylab. They had some experimental showers there. which was basically, a big plastic tube with water coming in on one side and suction in the other side to get it out again. So they did experiments with that. But it was deemed to be too complicated and too wasteful for water and too much potential for water all over the place.
Very unsafe.
Says it's unsafe and it could...
It could kill me, Zhaan, I know.
Oh, you may have. As soon as the suction stops here, it becomes very dangerous because you might as well choke and drown.
Yeah.
As almost happened to I believe it was an Italian astronaut who had a leakage of his coolant system and his helmet was basically flooding with water. And the problem was it was just clinging to his face. And they had to abort the spacewalk and his buddy had to drag him back into the airlock to get him out of there before...
because even just a few droplets in your lungs will seriously ruin your day.
Yeah, totally. And you don't want a coughing fit when you're in a spacesuit on the outside of the space station. But... let's get back to the matter at hand.
Well, it's actually quite some space stuff because we find out a pilot is very apologetic and says that Moya initiated Starburst on her own because she received what she thought was a distress signal from another pregnant Leviathan.
Yes. This is immediately dispelled, of course, because there's an incoming transmission in which another Delvian apologizes. I won't say she doesn't seem particularly contrite, but at least she apologizes for deceiving them and sending out a fake distress signal.
I apologize for the deceit, but there was no other way our signal could reach across the void.
So apparently, they knew about Zhaan and knew about her being on a Leviathan, but not where she was.
Yes, I was wondering about that as well. I mean, I was wondering about a few other things, how they knew those as well during the episode.
Yeah, this part, I can't really fully... how would they have known that Moya was pregnant? Which is not known outside of Moya.
No, you'd think so, no. Maybe they can, there seems to be a lot of mind reading involved with Delvians, and also mind projection, so I'm thinking they might have, plucked that out of Zhaan's mind or something.
Yeah, because what we have is a satellite sect of Delvians who have migrated off of their home planet, which is in the throes of a coup d'etat, to perform the Delvian Seek, which is their religious process, but under the leadership of Tuzak, who has gone insane. We learn a lot about Delvian culture in this one.
So she's referred to as Pa'u Zolta Zhaan, I believe.
And we so want to meet you, Pa'u Zolta Zhaan.
Yes, that's our Zhaan.
But Pa'u is a title, I believe?
Yes, it means priest.
It means priest. Okay, so that makes sense why everybody else was called Pa'u as well.
I noticed also that everyone was in their underwear. Zhaan has a sort of towel wrapped around her from the armpits down. An unusual color for her. This is more teal.
Yeah.
It sort of makes her look more purple in comparison.
It does, yes.
I did notice that she's wearing all her rings.
No, maybe she doesn't take those off.
Yeah, apparently.
I mean, I don't take my ring off. I mean, I only have one, but... So, after the credits, we are already on the planet where they have this big keyhole ship, or whatever you want to call it. I thought it was a building at first, but no, it turns out to be their ship.
Yeah. So they
Arc de Triomphe shaped, but several sizes larger.
It's huge, and even that is just the outside, because as they mention, with these missionary craft, upon landing they liquefy the rock and bury the ship in the surface of the planet. There's even a cool little exchange where Aaron praises that tactical decision.
It's clever. Decreases the likelihood of an enemy being able to spot you from space.
Tarleen, I think she's called, observes that it's interesting how different cultures see something very different in the same...
Yes.
They see isolation for piety, and you see a strategic advantage.
They have a little run-in with another Delvian who seems to be wandering around the shrubberies with his... Actually, they don't have a run-in with him. He just observes them a little bit, and he's standing there with his trident and watching them go.
Yeah, he's got his sort of raking fork, and he's skulking around this orchard of barren trees with no leaves, zero stealth. And also, those are not gardening clothes, dude.
They get invited into the ship where they are told to make use of the supplies that they have. And please be greedy. I love that.
Right? That's such a lovely invitation. The more you take, the more will grow back to replace it.
And Cretin doing a very good part of doing my job, as in naming the weird creatures. What did he call it?
I dubbed the Trigopod.
Trigopod, which apparently looks a bit like a squid and a cephalopod and tastes like cucumber or something.
Yep, it's a squid calamari cucumber. It's part animal, part plant. It just sort of floats around serenely, and you just
snap it out of the water, the rose petal covered water.
Ah, yeah, more of that symbolism, by the way. There's a you've said red versus blue before.
Oh, yes.
Regarding Zhaan, and that's kind of there's some color symbolism here because the dream was all in red,
right? And we get the red eyes later on.
Yeah.
And what's a theosophy again? Is that ruled by a religious caste?
I think you're meaning theocracy, but the word that Aaron uses...
Amazes me how people mistake theosophy for superiority.
Theosophy for knowledge of God, I think I want to say. Sophos is knowledge or wisdom.
Yes.
As in philosophy is love of knowledge. So theosophy is... knowledge of God.
Makes sense. Theos, religion, deities. Yeah, it seems to make sense.
Zhaan has meanwhile taken Talene aside, and there's more of that snippiness. Now, I really, really enjoyed the different designs for the costumes and the makeup that the various Delvians had. Like Talene, she has more gold flecks on her face.
Much more pronounced, so yes.
That may be makeup?
They look much more stuck on than Zhaan's golden hues and like... Yeah, Zhaan has those like golden rimmed... No, it's more like golden ringed pale spots, I believe, that Zhaan's... And,
versus Talene's actual gold leaf. I mean, it may just be stuck on because she's got a lot more gold in her costume as well.
It looks like that. And they have a little discussion about... a little hushed discussion about why she was brought here and how she marvels at Zhaan being able to be both pious and enraged at the same time and how she can get those two coexist. And that's, again, at this point, I'm again like going, how does she know about that?
Yeah.
It's like, are they... And that brings me back to the whole mind-reading part and like figuring out how and where they are and how they could get that message across.
Interesting. Now, this part may actually be like just... history for them because as Zhaan has claimed that she was the leading anarchist.
Right, that's true, yes.
And as we find out, she killed their planet's tyrant.
Right.
So she would be famous for that, I suppose. Certainly among
that makes sense.
Splinter group like these Tusakians.
But the idea is that she's able to, like, she's asked, like, how can she do that and not be insane?
I have no secret, darling. I am just me. All that hatred and anger. You should be insane. I was insane. I don't know how I survived those early cycles. But you did. So how does the pious Zhaan coexist with all that rage?
Killing this tyrant was the crime that she was jailed for.
Yes.
And, I mean, they would not know what her mental state was after that because she's been on Moya or on other prison planets. I mean, there's a mention of a prison asteroid at some point.
Yes, I spent 3 cycles on a maximum labor planet.
My own father was sent to an asteroid camp. He may still be there for all I know.
Yeah, it's interesting to note because I think we learn a lot more about Delvian physiology as well and how that ties into their emotional states. I think you could... based on the information we get, you could hypothesize that Delvians are unable to commit murder without succumbing to madness.
Yeah,
like
that makes sense.
Right. That seems to be what's happening to them,
or at least the priests, I suppose.
Oh, also very possible.
Because we've never seen a non-religious Delvian yet, or at least not a religious caste Delvian yet.
Right. So I'm not sure whether because it's described that Zhaan tapped into this darkness within her and then she had to claw herself away, whether that was so that she could commit murder through unity, the psychic process that they do that is probably part of the priesthood, or just to be able to do something bad at all.
Interesting question. No idea.
Yeah, I don't think we have it resolved from this one. You can go either way, but gosh, there sure was a lot of cool sort of world building in this episode. So I do like to think that when this exchange started taking place, when Zhaan took Talene aside and was quite firm with her, which turned out to be about her mistrusting Talene's use of deception.
Yes.
But I thought first of all she was going to say, "Bitch, why do you have hair?"
Your hair! And what happened to your hair? Hair, whatever.
I had to shave my head for this role, and you get hair. You get sort of flaxen. You're like one of those little trolls from.
Yeah, so it's interesting because there's another female Delvian there who also has hair, and several of the other male Delvians don't. So I'm like starting to wonder, like, what is this, like a personal choice, or is it just like a subtype, or maybe...
Yeah, I'm curious about that as well. So none of the men that we've seen have had hair, except for Tuzak, who has a turban. So we don't know whether
he's
he has
like,
hair.
he's the one who has the... He reminded me a lot of Bram Stoker's Dracula. You know, when you first see Dracula in his castle,
he's got the wig with the sort of two boobs.
Exactly,
on his head.
that's the one. Yes, that's
yes, that's right. And Tuzak, he's got the boob hat as well.
They're blue in this case, but yeah, that's what that's what I immediately. And also because he's like an old wrinkly face, so that was like immediately where my mind went to when I saw that.
So it may be that they shave. Obviously, a lot of people do that.
Yeah, especially fairly common in religious circles.
I mean, notice how well groomed Crichton is throughout this series. He's got his perfect little sideburns and Dargo's beard care regimen. So yeah, they would clearly be able to.
I mean, there's Moya has extensive hair care facilities. So we have another kind of useless flashback scene to from Crichton, like when he's at the beach in his youth, when he's fishing out the pods, and there's like a little exchange between Zhaan and what was her name again? Talene. And apparently, like, she manages to change that memory of him. I guess that's the point of this scene, that they're just like establishing the fact that they can do this. Yeah, apparently that's not a skill that they can normally do. And at the start, John was very comfortable with the water, having this flashback to childhood memory, playing along the rocks by the water, and then the memory was changed so that he fell in, and suddenly he's afraid of the water. Yeah, and he moves away from fishing for cucumbers. And Erin immediately grabs her pulse rifle and goes, what? Like, she's got his back. I like that. Yeah, she's totally back into... there was a few nice moments where they had good rapport again. It's like they seem to be doing well together. Honestly, this whole exchange, while not very important between John and Erin, like... We've had this before, where she sort of dismisses his wide-eyed marveling. Check it out at the universe, and he actually bites back. He says, "No, like
almost everything we see, almost every day, is brand new to both of us. It's worthy of a response."
And she says, "Oh wow, incredible, so special." And he's like, "No, that's you dismiss it so easily, whereas it's wondrous, and you should marvel at it." I mean, I guess Erin is more accustomed to being marveled and seeing things that she doesn't know than Crichton is. Yeah, I think she's also like trained to dismiss it. Right, they're very xenophobic. The peacekeepers. Yeah, no, very true.
Because, as you know, Peacekeeper High Command has very clear parameters regarding contact with unclassified alien life forms. You may have very well exceeded those parameters, Officer Soon, which would make you irreversibly contaminated.
No, sir.
Take them away. Take them all away.
We have a little fun scene with Crichton staring into the funhouse mirrors at the temple. Oh, that was so upsetting. He's got the big jaw and the... Can we talk about this temple, by the way? Wow, it was so gorgeous. It was very well. I mean, they did go a little bit overboard with the burning water imagery. And they like the water features. Yes, they do. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a water party. This whole temple, it has so many facets, but I think in the end you realize it's just the pool and some side rooms, all of which have like circular doorways and it's sort of a blend between a spa and a Chinese restaurant. I got the vibe. I see what you mean. Yeah, with the round doors and the right, and the sort of Buddhist iconography. Right. They had all these circular patterns that reminded me of show symbols, the longevity symbol that you see a lot on stylized in a circle like that as well. Yeah. So meanwhile, on Moya, there's a little scene between Tentacles and Earbrows, who are both not very much in this episode. So, like, especially Dargo has almost no part in this entire episode. No, nor does Rigel. Rigel's all about the food again. He doesn't care. It's like, get the food, get the food, get the food.
Any word?
Erin and Crichton have close to a 40-day supply of fresh food on the transport already.
Excellent.
That's pretty much all that he's all about. A 40-day supply of fresh food, which seems like such a luxury. I do have to say, like, Rigel gets a few choice lines this episode. Oh, yes. Beginning with, "I like my wives pregnant and my ships cold to the touch." Which, because it keeps his feet warm or something like that. No idea how that is the case. Also, you're aquatic. Do you want to be warm? He even gets a little high five, or high three in his case, from Crichton, from wives plural, big fella. Yes. I mean, he is the domino of the 60 billion people.
One day you'll get the number right. No, that's fine. We'll just the number will vary with because I still think he's full of shit.
Yeah, as well possible.
And he has what became my favorite diss.
Hail, Prince of the Obvious.
Hail, Prince of the Obvious. Wow.
It's better than Captain Obvious, I suppose. Yes. Back in the temple, Crichton gets told off by the old dude not to touch the what's it called again? The root of all knowledge?
Sanctity.
The Sanctity root, that's the one.
Do not touch the Sanctity root.
Yeah, it's this gnarled bit of wood that sort of integrates with the ship, it seems.
And he's kind of like just looking at it, and this dude slinks up to him and goes like, "Don't touch it."
Because it's poison to your touch. There's a really interesting exchange because Tuzak, which we find out is this gentleman's name, says, "I am insane, you know."
Yeah, that would have been my next guess.
And Crichton's like, "No, cool, I got that."
I'm down with that. It's like, thanks for the heads up.
And tells him that not everything is right there. He recognizes Crichton as a peacekeeper, Aaron as well, but he says that one of the crew is in one of their traveling companions is in danger, and it's not yours, it's mine.
Yes.
So not Aaron, it's Zhaan.
Yeah. Which leads to an exchange between Crichton, Zhaan, and the other Delvian. Basically, Crichton demanding to find out what's going on. Doing another fairly good bit of diplomacy, I would say. Like, okay, show him then. And she's like, oh, I mean, we can't even, like, his mind is not even capable of a level 1 or something like that.
Yeah, they're very sort of...
And she's like, no, he can handle it.
She has a lot of confidence. Zhaan has a lot of confidence in Crichton. She calls him the most clever on the ship at one point.
Oh.
You were always the most clever one on Moya.
And this is specific because she wants his judgment.
Yeah.
She realizes that she's confused and compromised, and she has a decision to make. And she asks Crichton because she wants him to advise her what to do. I love this. I think it's such a wise thing, and it took me such a long time to learn that when you're unsure what to do, ask someone.
Yeah,
and trust them.
Especially if you already trust the person beforehand, then yes.
Yeah, because most of the time when you ask someone, you kind of just want to hear the answer coming out of somebody else's mouth so you can figure out how you feel about it. But that's not what she's doing. She really wants his insight, and she'll trust it. And she shows him something really rather horrific, because what we see is an intimate encounter between her and a male bald Delvian.
Oh, who has a beautiful skull. I noticed that. It's like an amazingly shaped skull.
Fantastic brow ridge, like a very, very confident. He's got a good thick neck on him too. And very attractive man.
They're doing the Delvian mind meld.
What is that?
Unity.
The foreheads pushed together. Unity is what it's called.
Yes, Delvian mind meld.
Unity.
Delve meld.
Unity.
Delve meld. Oh God.
Mind delve.
Delve ops. Oh. No wait.
Unity.
I mean, in a scene that's all blue, da ba dee da ba da.
Oh, it is a Rhapsody in blue, so
that's right. Oh wait, that's Gershwin, isn't it?
It is.
Ba 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 ba.
I don't know actually. I don't actually know how it goes, but it is Gershwin.
Oh, it's one of my favorite pieces. It was like the American sound began with that, and just like imagine hearing that for the first time. This was at a time where it was either like 5 minutes more or how much is that doggy in the window, and this brand new sound of. I mean, it was immigrant and minority musicians. Like nobody would really, black musicians wouldn't get a lot of positions in big band orchestras, but Jewish people were also like struggling for position in society. So you've got this blend of klezmer and blues and fantastic.
Yeah, so she ends up murdering him. So this is apparently
segue there. You're right.
Well, I mean, so ends up killing him. So this is apparently the thing that she has done, the crime that she's been jailed for, and the ability that she's now sought after for.
Yes, she murdered the tyrant of their planet. A bit of a complicated situation. She was studying with him. She became his lover. He was the leader of their planet, their religious leader. Not entirely clear.
Vital was our spiritual counselor, John. He was a very powerful man. I was studying with him at the time, and things just took their course.
But then when his tenure was up, instead of stepping aside, he brought in the peacekeepers to get rid of liberals. And
yes.
He and the other conservative priests turned Delvia into an overnight theocracy.
Yes,
with the peacekeepers as their enforcers.
Yes, and Zhaan, being the lead anarchist, decided to put a stop to it and kill him. And, well, we don't really know what has happened.
We don't know, right?
Although, I mean, the fact that these folks are here now and they seem to be more refugees than,
That was my feeling as well. They're a splinter sect. Like they stole, or they already had a spacecraft. And they went. I mean, they're in the uncharted territories.
Yeah. Well, we don't know where Delvia is. Well, presumably not in
Neither do
uncharted territories. Yes, true.
They don't have any star charts either, nor do they have any interest, because there is at one point mention, like Crichton mentions, that all of these people could come along on Moya.
Yeah, and they have oh no, we're not here for that. We're here for purpose.
Well, spiritual enlightenment and like developing their abilities, which is what Talene wants from Zhaan, and that, as you say, is the challenge. Like, she has to figure out: am I going to give it to them?
Yes. Can I do it? Do I want to do it? And
Talene realizes that Zhaan is still
in two minds about that.
And that she's leading on her crew. So she talks to two of her acolytes, and that's Lorana, and I never got the other one's name. He sort of looks more fish-like. He's got all these light highlights on his face and dark lips.
It reminded me a little bit of the younger version of what's the guy, the eunuch from Game of Thrones.
Oh, the spider.
The spider.
Yeah.
He kind of like a younger version of that, and slightly slimmer too, but.
I see what you mean. He has the pronounced but thin eyebrows. He has a sort of suspicious look. I mean, we first met him when he's bullying Aaron.
You are forbidden in this sanctuary.
I was just looking for the meditation
You also carry a
room.
prohibited weapon.
I appreciate your rules, but I'm not allowed to go anywhere.
A lie. I have been driven from my homeland by your kind. I will not be driven from here also. It is you who must go.
He has an exchange with the other acolyte. Now, her name I did get, Lorana. I had a hard time telling her and Talene apart.
Yes, they were both like the beehive hair. Well, not quite beehive, but like,
sensational
high
hair. Yeah. Eventually, I figured it out that Talene has lots of gold on her forehead. It's actually not that hard to tell apart.
Oh, yes.
And they're instructed to distract the crew as you would children.
Which immediately happens with another little... It's not even a flashback. It's just like Crichton running into his ex-girlfriend, who now has always been with them.
Are you now, or have you always been?
With us on Moya. And implanting some fake memories about her joining the Space Corps and them flying together as astronauts. And apparently flying together on the module.
So it was a two-seater to begin with?
Yeah. Or at least, if you're messing with someone's memories, then it might...
Oh, fair enough, yeah.
Yeah.
She's wearing a grey shirt, black pants. Do you notice he's got black pants as well?
Yes. I mean,
he must have brought several changes of clothes.
Or he might have just like gone into Dargo's pants and like resized them.
I mean, do you think Dargo would have worn black BDUs?
Dargo has his black pajamas, and he might be able to like convert them in some way or the other.
Let's find out if anywhere else in the universe has cargo pants.
Okay.
Or whether that's just a pure human...
I mean, the only reason that people rag about cargo pants is because women are jealous about the amount of pockets that they have, whereas dresses don't tend to have pockets.
A design feature that should hopefully be corrected as soon as possible. So this illusion is being projected by those two acolytes who are standing around with they're doing the Delvian eye roll,
right, and doing the chanting, which is interesting because like there's always been a little bit of background chanting music in the whole temple, but it picks up immensely during the scenes when there's like flashbacks and heads are being messed with, and the background chanting becomes much more pronounced in the soundtrack.
The chanting is also like I listened to the words. It's a prayer that Zhaan has said before, and I don't know whether those lines were written for her or whether she just invented Delvian.
No idea.
And Kahlen is their deity.
Okay.
But as a consequence, not only is Crichton seeing Alex and these flashbacks that are sort of filmed MTV style, with them sort of jockeying about at IASA in front of the module, but Aaron just drops her rifle as she and Dargo are heading back down, resolved to liberate their compatriots.
And to her, it seems as if the weapon is fallen apart into various pieces.
My pulse rifle just fell apart.
Yeah, and she just sort of stands there helplessly, like it's broken.
Yeah.
And Dargo goes over, seeing that it's
Just
perfectly fine, holds it up, like it's fine. But through her eyes, she's just holding up a piece.
One part of it, yeah. And Dargo seems to catch on that something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
Yes, I agree.
But then he immediately gets distracted by a vision of his son.
Jothi being snatched away by a peacekeeper.
Yeah.
He does respond sort of rationally, like he immediately grabs his rifle and says, "Peacekeeper on board."
Daddy!
Peacekeepers, pilot, seal all the exits. There are peacekeepers on board.
He's sort of halfway into believing that Jothi is there, but he's mostly focused on there's a peacekeeper on board.
Later we see that he's just searching for Jothi, and he's like trying to coax the boy out as if he's hiding rather than that he's being kidnapped. But yeah, it's like at first he seems to feel that something's wrong, but yes, once that starts happening, he's immediately focused on Jothi. Rigel, for some reason, has a small man complex going on, which is magnified, and he shrinks down to
magnified is the word.
And shrinks down to tiny Rigel. I don't know. It's like, we really don't see anything of it later, except that he gets complained that he got stepped on by someone.
It's interesting how these how the acolytes sort of exploited the fears and uncertainties of our crew. Like Dargo, obviously the loss of his son, cool. Rigel, interesting that he's concerned about being small.
Yes.
And Erin, really interesting that she's concerned about like being dumb, I guess.
I just I can't figure out how these controls work.
She's struggling to operate controls.
She's complaining,
how things work.
I can't fix my weapon. I can't operate these controls. It's basically maybe playing on her insecurities, I suppose.
Which I didn't really know that she had. Like, we've seen her being dismissive of scientific instrumentation because that's for techs.
Yeah.
But she's got a bit of tech envy, I think.
I suppose, yeah. So Zhaan acquiesces to the request made of her and decides to share her knowledge.
Yes, because the other Moyans have been suitably distracted.
Moyans?
They're on Moya.
Oh, right. Oh, sorry. Yes, those Moyans. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the Delvians. Never mind. Sorry. You're right.
The rest of her crew are not there to rescue her or to convince her otherwise. So, yeah, she acquiesces.
So they do another Delvian mind meld, which I thought was shot beautifully.
It was so good. Like, so they've got the two people filmed from the side, and their silhouettes sort of blend together as if they share one
head. Yes, it's like from
so cool.
The Origin of Love, two people sharing one giant head, so they could look all around them while they talked out they read.
What on earth is that?
It's from a song called "The Origin of Love." It's from Hagrid. No, not Hagrid and the Angry Inch. It's
Hedwig.
Hedwig.
That would be an interesting.
Wow. Hagrid and the Angry Inch. I hereby claim copyright.
Yeah, TM. And it's such a cool effect when they initiate unity. Like they hold each other's head and put their foreheads together, and then the background seems to sort of fall away, like it's breaking apart and light shining through.
So I really admired how they shot things like that in it, because like an episode with a lot of mind stuff happening is always weird to shoot, because there's nothing physical happening, so you have to have some sort of visual representation of what's going on, and I thought they did that really well here.
Yeah, because a lot of times
some wee sounds and a little bit of wobbly screen, and that like they didn't go that route at all.
Yeah, or just like pretending that there's a real space in the mind, and, you know, having a black space that you walk around, or a metaphorical space, but like that wasn't used here either, and it was really like a cool visual representation of what this experience must be like, of just sharing a mind with someone else and blending into each other.
So Zhaan shares, but apparently that is not enough, and in fact she has the knowledge literally ripped from her mind, I suppose.
What are you doing, darling?
I'm sorry, Zhaan. But what you have achieved will take me too long to muster on my own.
You betrayed me.
And not just from her mind, because, I mean, this seems to be an odd situation where, like, sharing knowledge does not increase knowledge. It's more like it's stolen from her rather than that it's shared by her.
It seems to be ripped out of Zhaan, as if maybe it's not knowledge per se. Maybe it's a neurological architecture. Maybe it's something almost biological that has to be broken down in order for it to be built up somewhere else.
It seems so, because when she's done, her eyes are red.
Yes. When Crichton remarks on that, she says it's tissue bile migrating to her brain.
Right. It sounds a bit like technobabble, but,
Yeah.
Made-up condition.
Biobabble.
Yeah, that works. And yeah, at this point, Crichton is really the only one who seems to be holding it together. I mean, his girlfriend shows up again, but even then, he keeps his eyes on the prize. He keeps working the mission.
Yeah.
Even though he gets guilted into choosing between Zhaan and his girlfriend.
And Alex. Yeah, that was a bit of a weird move there.
Then honor your vow. Or choose Zhaan over me and take the ring.
I mean, it seems to make sense. It's an easy in for someone who's trying to manipulate your mind. So that's
yeah, and it's still like they're being manipulated in order to keep them distracted.
Yes, and and we get a beautiful scene where the mind manipulation is very blatantly happening, and each time he counters we never did that. Yeah, I never gave you that ring. And she goes didn't you?
And then he immediately gets a little flashback, and he goes, no, I didn't mean that.
And then we married. I never married you, didn't we? And then there's suddenly a memory of them getting married forced into his head.
The listeners at home are missing out on these wonderful facial expressions you're making. It's such a shame that this is only an audio medium.
Yes, but again, I thought that was really well done. It's like the producers make it really obvious when such a thing is happening, and they do it in a very well. The change of lighting, there's everything in those forced memories is very stark, brightly lit. Even the scenes in bed and the wedding scene and all that. Those are it's very brightly lit, shot basically in the same way that the first shots on Earth are done in the first episode, and not all the moody lighting that you always have on Moya whatever the lighting setting of Planet X is.
Yeah, they wear light clothes. They've got white walls, which are very rare features in the rest of the Farscape universe. Interesting. Bringing that back with Alex, and as you're saying, the visualization of what's happening is real credit to the director Andrew Prowse, who also did the pilot episode. He did 109 with DNA Mad Scientist with Namtar. So he has some experience in visualizing tricky concepts.
Yes, very much so. And I thought that was done really well. That they made it an interesting episode about mental stuff, mind melding, implanting memories, and they did it in a very accessible way, I suppose. That you're not sitting there, what's going on, and
still exciting as well.
and visually entertaining.
Because it's not an action-heavy episode like last time where you had the chases and the gunfights.
There's two murders, but they're all just put your hands on someone's head and the people die thing. There's no.
Yeah, and everything is just people in a room talking with each other, but they're always interesting rooms and interesting people. I imagine most of the budget for this episode went to obviously building the set, which was great.
And makeup.
Yeah. Apparently, it was quite shocking for the makeup crew to discover, so do you know how you spend 3 hours on Zhaan every day?
Yeah.
Now do 8.
Oof, yeah.
Do 8 of those. Go on, you can do it.
So, next we learn that Boob Hats is the father of our little mind-stealing lady.
Yeah, he accuses her of being too greedy and going too far. This is also where we learn that she is not the leader of this group as she's been presenting herself.
No. Well, yes, she is, but now. He's quite mad. Yes.
But he was the teacher that they all followed.
Yes.
Fun, interesting shades of blue here, by the way. His outfit almost seems more purple. Hers seems more teal or green.
I mean, is it gold and white or is it blue and black?
What color are the vestments?
Yes.
Because did you notice Zhaan has another new outfit?
Right. Well, hang on, you're missing the fact that for his troubles, she murders her father.
Oh, yeah, I know, she murders her father, but no, I know, she just murders her father a little bit. But Zhaan has a new outfit, Come on, focus on the important.
And she's now wearing the full vestments of the order, the Pau, I believe.
She's got a lovely blue gown. She's got a fantastic shoulder piece in gold.
Yes, and Crichton's having a bit of a discussion with her, and only after Crichton leaves the room, we learn that the couch that she's been lounging on is the dead body of the previous leader.
Yes,
which is a little bit like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he's covered in rose petals as well, red versus blue again, and she's just sort of leaning back against him. I guess. Well, she gave that advice to Rigel as well. When you're feeling anxious, go find a corpse.
Find his corpse. It will set you free.
Do wee-wee on it, or in her case, just throw some rose petals on it. I like someone who can take their own advice.
Yeah, I mean, whatever works for you,
When
I
in
suppose.
doubt, find a corpse. That's Zhaan's wisdom.
I'm not going to go with that, but fair enough.
Well, we don't have to, because we're not Zhaan.
After leaving Zhaan, Crichton wanders through the temple, and he comes across Alex again, who then now starts to go into a confession to him. She, saying, I'm not real. She shows her true self being one of the other acolytes.
Now, it was interesting when she shows up. She's wearing a dress. She's barefoot. She's not wearing the.
It's almost like the wedding dress.
Yeah, and she tells Crichton that she's not really here.
I'm not here, John. I've never been.
Drops her disguise, and it's Lonara.
Yeah, which I thought actually was interesting, because I thought the previous scenes were just in their mind, just like the gun with Eren and Tentacly's son. But apparently, she has actually been at least mentally projecting herself to be Alex rather than
I think you're right herself. There. Because we see the male acolyte doing the Delvian eye roll for the focusing his power, to reach out to Moya, but she apparently shrouded herself. Yeah. I guess. Do you also notice, by the way, the short exchange between the two acolytes that she accused him of being jealous.
I pity you. Your jealousy. Talene and I share unity now, not you and I. Accept that and move on.
Not you and I.
Yes.
Move on.
Yes. And the same male acolyte we then see contacting Moya and telling them, we've been messing with you guys.
Sorry.
Our bad. We're our leadership has decided to go in a direction that we can no longer support. And there's definitely distrust in the ranks. There's not a single front anymore. Our priestess, who also has red eyes now, by the way, is losing control of her flock.
Yeah, but please don't come down here and shoot everyone. Please let us deal with it our own way.
Yes.
You must not invade our temple. The balance is very delicate. Please, I have restored your memories. Now, allow us to do it our way.
You have 2 arts.
And then Dargo makes a really rather captainly decision, I've got to say. He says you've got 2 arms. He sort of weighs this balance.
We want our people back, but you've got some time to figure it out yourself.
He sort of understands the gesture that is being made, this contrition. You violated our minds. You apologized for it.
Right. You could have kept doing this. Clearly, we owe you. At least we normally don't owe you, but we can give you a little bit of leeway in taking control of things. You have you've taken steps to start changing things, and we'll give you a little bit more time to continue that. And after that, we're going to come to get our guys if they're not if they're not back.
Kind of cool for Dargo to explore options other than direct conflict to try and avoid that.
Zhaan wanders over to go find Crichton, who's standing there looking like he's taking a piss on the Sanctity route.
Yeah. He's got a lot of cool stances in his black BDUs. Do you notice that?
Yes, yeah.
These wide-legged stances, very confident. Even when he's just walking around the temple, he's got this cool swagger.
Yes, I mean that's his thing a little bit.
I like it.
And they basically have a little heart-to-heart again, which I'd like. They had a lot of heart-to-hearts in this episode between Zhaan and Crichton.
It's a really talky episode.
Yes, very much so.
I like these. I like it when these characters just spend time exploring themselves and each other together. Which is what Crichton asks Zhaan to do. to share unity with him, as she's seen doing.
And
with
she's immediately dismissive about it. It's like, no, that's not going to happen.
And he taxes the limits of his Babel bugs by going...
Yes, I noticed that. Like,
did your translator microbes get that?
And Zhaan gives him a little bit of a,
Well, I suppose I could try.
Yes. Apparently the Babel bugs did get the message across at least.
I wonder what it sounded like to her. Maybe it was just like Triggerpod bubbling.
I mean, we've had problems with translating... what's the word again?
Onomatopoeia.
Well, no, not even that. I was thinking more of homonyms and
similes, metaphors.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah. She gives me a Woody and a Willy being a very good example.
Exactly. And they do another, like, this is the third time we see a Delvian mind meld in this episode, I believe. Basically, he bullies her into taking it on.
It's so beautifully done. Like this time, I noticed that proportionately her head looks a little larger than his. I guess he has a larger head than Zhaan has to begin with. I noticed also how they blend the ears. Like when Talene and Zhaan fused together, like their ears were just touching, but here they're completely fused.
They're kind of trying to go for the top of the skull and the ears, and then make everything, and everything else is just a little bit faded in and out. But it's very beautifully done.
It's gorgeous.
Where basically Crichton gives her the strength to deal with her past. Like he tells her, like, no, it's like it's not been ripped from you. You had this in you. You don't have to start all over again. It's like you are the kind person that I have known you to be, and that hasn't changed.
Gentle, giving. That's you, Zhaan. Talene can't take that, and she didn't. You're still that Pau.
And he asks her to look into his mind and see what she looks like to him.
Yes.
Which is, wow, what a wonderful thing that would be to be able to do for someone when they're sad or insecure, to actually make them believe how you see them.
Yes. And do it completely honestly and not have to trouble with words which might always seem insincere or at least contrived. They both have a bit of a hard time afterwards. Like, I mean, the shots that I can see here, almost reminds me when he was hit by the deboner device, and when he's
he is a bit floppy.
And
her eyes are switching from red to blue. Did you notice?
They went back again. Yeah, she has gotten her control back, and she is like the beautiful Zhaan that we know.
Oh.
Crichton immediately gets a bug up his ass and starts taking a axe to the Unity route. No, wait,
the Sanctity
route. Yes,
this I did not get at all.
No,
why was this
a thing? It's this whole Sanctity route seems to be just a bit of an add-on, and it's not shown to have any purpose.
Right, there was maybe a scene missing.
Right. Well, there was the old guy was trying to grow more Sanctity roots outside in the orchard, and as he says,
Sanctity roots don't grow on trees.
No, exactly.
And there was also Crichton remarks on the root being all twisted, like their religion. But I don't understand the significance of because when he hacks away at it, obviously everyone's outraged. So sacred object, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Talene attacks him, which Zhaan rebuffs because now she's 10th level.
Yes, she did a little level up during the mind meld. Apparently, she took something from her as well, and she can now protect Crichton against the mental attack.
I am now a Pa'u of the 10th level, able to protect.
Cool. So Pokemon evolution on Delvia apparently is how
she gained enough experience points, and now she's gone up in level.
Gained a new ability.
Yeah.
Ding. He hacks through the Sanctity route, and there seems to be some system breaks down on the ship.
Yeah, it's a big glowing thing that goes up,
I don't know what it does. It's probably cool, and they leave.
Yep.
I don't understand any of this. I don't understand why they destroyed that route. How that's going to affect there. I mean, Zhaan does talk to Talene and says that you'll have to tend to your father's orchard and grow a new one.
Yeah.
But for what?
I noticed there was another little gesture copying again between when he says goodbye to the other acolyte. He puts his hand on the side of her face, and she mirrors that gesture again. It's kind of like the mind meld touch, but only with one hand. I noticed that, and another jealous look from the male acolyte. who is like,
he's the jealous type.
He does seem to be.
I like that Zhaan took the time to forgive her.
It's okay.
Right.
Because that's basically what it was. Like,
we're cool. Yeah. Zhaan goes back and put her vestments back on the altar or something or the other.
Yeah, she's back in her moss gown.
Yes, and Crichton goes like, so why are you leaving those? And she's like, oh, I'm not a priest today.
It feels like a shroud I'm no longer worthy.
Leaves them behind and walks off.
I might be again. That was a beautiful exit, by the way. Like how she strides down the corridor and takes a left.
Such dignity.
Exit stage left. No, wait, exit stage right. It's.
Which one is stage?
I don't
left?
know. I always forget which
one. Is that the one? Well, exit pursued by bear.
Right. And
I did kind of expect. I was waiting for Zhaan to knock her head against the door because she's such a tall woman and she's filmed from below. But
yes. But yeah, I thought that was a nice ending. It's like it wasn't particularly melancholy, so they were like it wasn't exactly upbeat either. But there was a little bit of exchange
hopeful.
where she had like, okay, I'm not a priest today. I might be again soon, but I'm not right now. I'm not.
I will be a Pa'u again, but I am not today.
So there was.
And Crichton then finishes with that seems like a waste of.
Seems a shame. Waste all those years of training.
Hardly wasted.
Not wasted at all.
Nope. Was the happiest yarns of my life.
This isn't Battlestar Galactica.
Well, sorry, I'm mixing up my.
You've got the cycles. That's the Farscape yarn.
Ours was the hours, right? So yeah, I enjoyed this episode. Like I said, it was like
me too.
It was a very talky episode, very low in action, but it was very well done, and I did love the cinematography of it all, and how all this mental stuff, the mental activities were put into view.
Yeah. It's interesting that you mentioned the cinematography. That was one of the things that occurred to me in the orchard scene between Talene and her father, Tuzak, just before she, murders him or whatever. But the really important thing is all the Dutch angles, all the tilted angles as they're walking around each other.
Yes.
It's really scary and menacing versus the serenity and the sort of uplit peace. Because everyone's constantly lit by this soft rippling light, usually from below. This pool is glowing.
Lots of water pools with lights shining through them, drapes which are lit from below as well, and of course the eternal flames on the in the bowls of water and in the pools. There was a lot of that going on.
Do you think you could live in that temple ship, or would you rather live on Moya? Just in terms of like, I guess, design. Temple ship. Hey, pros versus cons. Temple ship. Food.
Yes, lots of food.
Lots of food.
Yeah.
Apparently inexhaustible food. So,
if you like cucumber squid.
Which apparently everyone does.
Oh, okay.
They all absolutely adore them. Rigel is crazy for them. Even when Dargo and Aaron are arming themselves to go down and take care of this.
Bring more food.
Bring more of those.
Couldn't we wait until we learned more supplies? This trigger pod is mythic. Oh, you say it's called vegetable?
But Rigel's always about the food. He's like a
always wants more. But he's particularly smitten with these delicious trigger pods. You'd almost think, why not? I mean, would they be able to make a triggerpod pool themselves?
I don't know. It depends on how they breed. I mean, apparently the more you eat, the more they regrow. So
please be greedy. The more you pick, the more that grows to replace it.
Next on So Farscape, Willy or Woody?
Yes, the segment where we discuss what gave us a Woody and what gave us a Willy. I feel like I need to give that context just in case someone drops in and hears Willy or Woody and has no idea.
Yes.
Which started, I think, in Thank God It's Friday again.
I mean, that's when the little exchange between Aaron and Crichton. Yeah. So I would say my Woody was definitely for the way the all the mental things were filmed, and like the mental exchange, the mind melds, the unities as they call it. Yes.
Unity.
I'll try to call it by the right name now instead of constantly making Star Trek references.
Yeah. Like with 2.5% of the episode left, that's the moment to start getting it right. No.
And of course, like Crichton in his Calvins.
Yes. I kind of struggled with that as well, because I will definitely be in my bunk. But in the meantime, I think my Woody probably has to go to these trigger pods. Like that was I thought they were a really cool design. And being part vegetable, you know that I don't do very well with invertebrates.
No, true.
I'm kind of curious what that will taste like.
Yeah, I mean, sea cucumbers, but no.
No, that is no. That is something very different.
And I guess the willy would be...
The willy is hard to figure out.
No, I mean, it would be I would think that's the mental state of the cult leader that we're dealing with. Because it's never established why she wants to kill her father, other than that she wants to take control. I mean, there's little in the way of motivation for the entire episode. They want her there. They want this knowledge from Zhaan.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
But other than the fact that she kills her dad with it, there's no real obvious reason why. He's already going mad. Like she's already the de facto leader.
So it comes immediately after she notices, oh, you're very lucid today, Father.
Yes.
As if his lucidity is a threat
to her. Yes.
He might spill some information but it doesn't seem like he's keeping any secret that we
know.
No.
He's just happily tending the trees and doesn't seem to be a bother. She's already in charge.
I'm really curious about this because it really feels to me like there was a few scenes that weren't filmed. You know what I mean? That there was some extra plot lines. Yeah, because it might have been too long or too convoluted. I don't know.
I guess we can wrap it up then.
And that's the story so far, Farscape. Wow, we really need to work out some better transitional material because it does feel so abrupt.
Yes.
We're keeping stringing everyone along with our helpful banter, and now we stop. And so maybe next time we'll do a klaxon or something to really jar you awake.
We'll see you next week with the next episode, number 113, called The Flax, in which John's flying lessons with Erin come to an abrupt end when he is caught in the net left by Zanetian pirates to trap ships.
Yes, I'm so excited. You can find us at SoFarscape on Twitter and Facebook and on sofarscape.com. I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
So Farscape, so good.